There exists a silent moment many of us experience when the desire for change touches our soul so deeply that it almost hurts. That sensation of urgency, as if something within you knows it's time, more than time, to transform everything. Perhaps you're feeling this right now, that sacred restlessness that won't let you settle for the familiar, that no longer allows you to accept what you've always accepted. Perhaps you've tried methods, read books, practiced affirmations, visualized intensely, and yet something seems missing, as if the true key to transformation remains hidden somewhere beyond the methods you know. Each dawn reminds us of this truth. Nature doesn't force its transformation. It allows it with a silent wisdom that we humans often ignore in our rush to change, evolve, transcend. Look out your window. See how light doesn't invade darkness. It simply is, and its being naturally dissolves absence. This is the first lesson of quantum change that most ignore. True transformation isn't conquest. It's intelligent surrender to a process that already knows how to guide you. Quantum physics reveals a truth ancient mystics already knew. The universe isn't a fixed structure where you move. It's a field of possibilities responding to your deepest vibration, not your superficial desires. When you try to change too quickly without aligning all levels of your being, you create only the illusion of movement. It's like running in a circle, exhausted by speed, but always returning to the same point. That's why so many spend years trying to change, only to discover they continue vibrating the same frequency, manifesting the same patterns in slightly different forms. Have you noticed how some people seem to make great transformations with apparent ease, while others remain trapped in repetitive cycles, no matter how many seminars they attend or books they read? The difference isn't in their techniques. It's in the depth they allow change to happen. It's in their willingness to inhabit that uncomfortable space between who they were and who they're becoming, without trying to control, fill, or accelerate it. Dr. Bruce Lipton showed us through epigenetics something revolutionary. Your cells aren't prisoners of your DNA. They respond to the environment, not just the physical environment, but the energy informational environment you sustain with your thoughts, emotions, and most importantly, your vibrational identity. When you try to change only behaviors without altering the energy field sustaining your current identity, it's like planting new seeds in old soil. The soil still contains the memory of what was cultivated before. True change, quantum change, requires something our speed culture rarely values: a conscious collapse of the old field, a willingness to inhabit the vibrational void where the old no longer sustains, and the new hasn't yet materialized. It's in this space, seemingly empty but actually filled with pure potentiality, that your new reality finds permission to exist, not because you forced it to appear, but because you finally stopped blocking its natural emergence. We live in an era where hurry was sold as proof of evolution. This has contaminated even the spiritual field. Change quickly. Transform your vibration in 7 days. Manifest now. But the desire to change quickly often doesn't come from consciousness. It comes from escape. The person doesn't want to change because they awakened. They want to change because they can't bear to feel anymore. They want to skip stages, bypass pain, accelerate the process. But the universe doesn't respond to speed. It responds to vibrational coherence. It recognizes not how hard you try to change, but how fully you inhabit the state you claim to seek. When someone wants to change yesterday, they're almost always trying to escape the pain of who they are today. This escape, however disguised as spiritual seeking or personal evolution, carries a denial that contaminates the very process of transformation. Because here's the trap few notice before falling into it. The pain you don't integrate, you repeat in another form. The suffering you try to skip doesn't disappear. It merely changes clothes and meets you further down the path, perhaps wearing an even harder to recognize mask. Quantum physics shows us a profound truth many seekers ignore. All real reality change requires identity collapse. That is, ceasing to energetically sustain the old self. This isn't just a mental decision. It's a vibrational dissolution happening in deep layers of your being. But if you're just trying to be different, without dissolving the emotional pattern vibrating within you, change becomes just a mask. A spiritual performance that may fool others but doesn't fool the quantum field responding to your real frequency, not the image you project. It's like changing a play's scenery, while keeping the same actor playing the same role. From outside, it looks like a new story. But the essence, the vibration, the energy pattern remains identical. And the universe, in its perfect neutrality, responds not to the scenery you've set up, but to the frequency you sustain. That's why so many people change cities, jobs, relationships, but continue living essentially the same emotional experience, just with different characters. The paradox is this: the more you try to run from your current pain, the more trapped you become in its frequency. It's like trying to exit a labyrinth by running, without realizing the exit lies in a pause, in a conscious breath that allows you to see what you couldn't see before, in a moment of deep acceptance of what is, before any attempt to transform it into what you think it should be. The greatest misconception of those seeking rapid transformation is confusing circumstance change with vibrational transmutation. Changing cities, jobs, relationships, diet, clothes, all this may seem like change. And indeed, these are visible alterations in your life's landscape. They're external movements giving a sense of progress, of advancement, of doing something. But if the internal field, your energy signature, remains the same, the new scenery merely repeats the old script. It's like changing theaters but continuing to stage the same play. The lighting is different, the stage is new, but the unfolding story remains strangely familiar. Quantum physics has proven a truth challenging our conventional reality perception. You don't live in a fixed universe. You collapse realities from the vibration of the observer you are. The world you experience isn't a solid, immutable structure where you simply move. It's a field of possibilities responding, moment by moment, to your vibrational frequency, to the set of beliefs, emotions, expectations, and energy patterns you sustain in your field. Therefore, it's not what happens outside that changes your life. It's who you become inside that alters what happens outside. This inversion of cause and effect is key to understanding why so many external change attempts fail to produce lasting transformation. All reality reflects identity, not a superficial identity, the one you declare with words or show on social media, but a deep, vibrational identity operating largely outside your direct consciousness. And every identity has a base frequency, an energy pattern attracting resonant experiences, like a magnet attracts metal. If you try to change behaviors without updating this frequency, you enter a loop. You change the form but not the field. You alter the surface but not the vibratory essence that continues magnetizing the same experiences, just in slightly different packaging. That's the invisible error, acting before collapsing, trying to change the external before allowing the dissolution of the internal field sustaining current reality. It's like planting new seeds without first clearing the land. The old roots are still there, competing for nutrients, determining what can or cannot grow in that soil. And no matter how many new seeds you plant, however powerful or promising they may be, they'll always face resistance from what's already rooted. Collapsing means recognizing the old field as obsolete. It's ceasing to feed the pattern with attention, belief, and emotion. It's consciously withdrawing your energy investment from the structures you wish to transform. Without this, any action becomes maintenance. You act to maintain the illusion that you're changing, when actually you're reinforcing the previous identity. It's like redecorating a prison instead of realizing the door was always unlocked. The new decoration may bring temporary comfort but doesn't alter the fundamental nature of confinement. Real change doesn't begin with decision. It begins with dissolution. Not with addition, but with subtraction. Not with one more method, practice, affirmation, but with the courage to release what you believed yourself to be, to make space for what you don't yet know. This is the most challenging inversion for a mind conditioned to do more for results. Realizing that true vibrational transmutation first requires doing less, a conscious detachment from the structures you built, but which now limit your expansion. Between your old self's last breath and your becoming self's first breath, there exists a space, a sacred interval most try to cross quickly, without realizing this is exactly where true alchemy happens. There's an almost invisible space between who I was and who I'm becoming. A space where nothing seems to happen but everything is being rewritten. We can call this the vibrational void, this seemingly empty field, actually filled with pure potentiality, where the old form has dissolved and the new hasn't yet crystallized. This space offers no guarantees, no evidence, no external validation. It's uncomfortable, silent, disorienting. In it, you can no longer lean on old structures but don't yet find new firm ground. It's like being between the breath that ended and the next that hasn't yet begun. A suspended moment where nothing is certain except your conscious presence witnessing the transmutation. It's the moment when the caterpillar no longer exists, but the butterfly hasn't yet emerged. The cocoon appears motionless outside, while inside, a complete alchemy is occurring. Most flee this void. They try to fill it with distractions, quick answers, hasty decisions. They try to skip this seemingly unproductive phase, not realizing this is precisely where true transformation is happening. We've been conditioned to value movement, action, visible progress. That's why the space of not knowing, of not yet being, causes so much anxiety. But here's the secret true transformation masters intimately know. The vibrational void is the most fertile place for quantum transformation. It's here that the field collapses a new reality, because it's here that you finally stopped sustaining the old vibration. It's when you stop energetically feeding old patterns, even without certainty about what comes next, that you create the vibrational space for the new to emerge, not through effort, technique, or manifesto, but through permission, through conscious surrender to the natural dissolution process preceding all true transformation. This void isn't absence. It's pure possibility space. Not lack, but potency. Not loss, but opening. It's where the old pattern no longer vibrates strongly enough to maintain itself, and the new still needs your surrender to be born. It's like the moment before dawn, when night no longer dominates, but the sun hasn't yet revealed its light. This suspended instant contains all the promise of the coming day, precisely because it's no longer trapped in previous darkness. Neuroscience shows us a truth about our brain explaining why this space is so challenging. The brain seeks predictability to feel safe. It prefers a known pattern, even painful, to a space of uncertainty. That's why it fears the void. That's why it creates resistance to this interval between identities. But the quantum field doesn't operate by predictability. It operates by vibrational coherence. It doesn't respond to what your brain finds safe. It responds to the frequency you sustain. And the vibrational void, however uncomfortable for the conditioned mind, is the most powerful space to establish a new field coherence. If you can remain in this space long enough, without trying to escape, without running back to the known, then the new field organizes itself from your internal state, not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed it, not because you conquered, but because you surrendered. It's the difference between trying to push the river to flow faster and simply removing the dam that prevented its natural flow. Water knows where to go. The field knows what reality corresponds to your new frequency. You just need to stop interfering with expectations, control, and fear. Just as a seed doesn't transform into a tree by merely changing its leaves, but needs a complete transmutation starting at the roots, all lasting change must happen in vibrational layers. If you change only thought but your body still vibrates fear, or if you change behavior but your energy identity remains trapped in the past, the transformation will be superficial and unstable. Like a house built on quicksand, it may seem solid for a while, but will eventually succumb to the unstable foundation supporting it. Quantum physics and neuroscience show us a fundamental principle many seekers ignore. Your being vibrates in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Your body has a cellular memory carrying emotional patterns. Your mind sustains neural networks forming beliefs and expectations, and your identity, this deeper sense of who you are, emits an energy field the quantum field recognizes as your vibrational signature. For a change to be truly quantum, a state change, not just behavior, all these layers must enter coherence with the new frequency you wish to establish. Here's a 3-level vibrational reprogramming technique aligning body, mind, and identity, so the field can recognize and respond to your new state. It's not another magic formula for instant results. It's a conscious vibrational realignment process that, when practiced with presence and consistency, creates the energetic conditions for a transformation that seems miraculous only because few understand the laws governing it. The first level is body, vibrational recalibration breathing. Before any thought or intention, your body is already communicating with the field. Your cells, organs, nervous system, all emit a frequency the quantum field reads as your current vibrational truth. Therefore, any authentic transformation must begin with body recalibration, a change in your physiological state creating the foundation for subsequent levels. The conscious 3-minute breathing I propose isn't just another breathing exercise. It's a way to communicate directly with your nervous system, altering your biochemical state and consequently your vibrational field. Inhale for 4 counts, allowing air to completely fill your lungs, expanding not just the chest, but also the abdomen. Hold for 4 counts, creating a suspension moment, a conscious pause symbolizing the vibrational void we discussed earlier. Exhale slowly for 6 counts, releasing not just air, but also the energetic charge of patterns you're ready to release. This cycle, repeated for just 3 minutes, stabilizes the nervous system and opens space for a new vibrational state. It's not time that matters, but the quality of presence you bring to each breath. It's a silent dialogue with your cells, direct communication with your body's intelligence, vibrationally preparing it to sustain the new frequency you wish to establish. The second level is mind, imagination as quantum laboratory. Here we make a crucial distinction, transforming simple visualization into deep neurochemical reprogramming. You don't use imagination to desire or convince the universe. You use it to teach your body to feel the new field before it externally manifests. It's a way to create such a vivid sensory experience that your nervous system doesn't distinguish between imagined and real, generating the same neurotransmitters, hormones, and electrochemical states the physical experience would produce. Imagine with sensory richness how the new you lives and feels, not as a distant fantasy, but as a vibrational reality you already inhabit. See the colors, feel the textures, hear the sounds, notice the specific physical sensations of this state. Let your body learn the language of this new frequency, becoming familiar with it until it begins to seem more natural, more you, than the old pattern. This activates neural networks and moves the body emotionally before external reality changes, creating a neurochemical bridge between current and desired states. The third level is identity, daily symbolic gesture. Here we bring vibrational change to the physical plane, creating an anchor point solidifying the new frequency in the material world. Choose a visible gesture or ritual representing your new vibrational identity. Something simple, concrete, that you can easily incorporate into your day, but carrying deep symbolic meaning for you. It could be a new habit, like waking 15 minutes earlier to witness sunrise in silence. It could be a way of speaking, replacing doubt expressions with certainty declarations. It could be a personal symbol, an object, image, word, you keep close as a constant reminder of the new frequency you're establishing. What matters isn't the gesture's grandeur, but the vibrational intention you bring to it. It's the difference between performing an empty ritual and participating in a symbolic act charged with energetic meaning. This gesture anchors the change in the physical plane and signals to the field that you already are what you claim to be. Not that you're trying to become, not that you hope to one day reach, but that you've already incorporated this new vibrational identity, and this daily gesture is simply its natural expression, not a technique to conquer it. There's an ancient wisdom inscribed in nature's cycles, patiently waiting to teach us the true path of transformation. Let's observe for a moment the process that might be the perfect metaphor for quantum change, the caterpillar's metamorphosis into butterfly. We all want to change, evolve, break patterns, but few accept transformation's truest part. It requires dissolution. It asks not just that we become something new, but that we have the courage to cease being who we were. And this dissolution isn't partial, it's complete. The caterpillar, before becoming butterfly, doesn't accelerate its flight. It doesn't read books about being a better butterfly. It doesn't visualize prettier wings or higher flights. It does something much more radical, much more courageous. It melts inside. In the process known as histolysis, the caterpillar literally dissolves most of its body inside the cocoon. Its old structures, organs, almost everything defining its being as caterpillar breaks down into a primordial cell soup, an apparent void containing all the potentiality of what's to come. It surrenders to the complete collapse of its old form, trusting a process it cannot control, accelerate, or direct. This is the purest image of what quantum transformation requires. It's not about improving the caterpillar. It's not about bettering who you are within the limits of your current identity. It's about ceasing to sustain who you no longer are. It's about allowing entire structures of your being, beliefs, emotional patterns, stories about yourself, limitations assumed as truths, to dissolve into the creative void preceding all true state change. Our culture fears this void. Our conditioned mind resists this dissolution. We want guarantees before letting go. We want to see the butterfly before allowing the caterpillar to dissolve. But nature teaches us this isn't the process order. First comes surrender, dissolution, the symbolic death of the old. Only then, from apparent emptiness, emerges the new form, not built through effort, but revealed through permission. The quantum field understands readiness not through effort but coherence. It doesn't respond to how hard you try. It responds to how much you vibrate in resonance with what you claim to want to become. And the greatest proof of vibrational readiness isn't how fast you try to run to the new. It's how completely you're willing to release the old, not through rejection or judgment, but through deep recognition that it has served its purpose, and now is time to dissolve to make way for what wants to be born through you. When you stop trying to control the transformation process, when you stop demanding guarantees, timelines, specific results, something remarkable happens. When you accept dissolving the old self, even without knowing exactly what will emerge from the cocoon, without being sure how your wings will look or where your flight will take you, that's when the true magic of quantum transmutation can occur. You don't create a new version based on the limits of your current imagination. You allow yourself to be reborn into it, following a design coming not from your control, but from the intelligence of the field itself that knows exactly what you're destined to become. This is perhaps the greatest surrender, the greatest act of trust in the transformation process, accepting that you don't know exactly how you'll be on the other side. The caterpillar couldn't conceive the butterfly's flight. It doesn't possess the neural structures to imagine the experience of having wings. Similarly, within the limits of your current consciousness, you cannot fully visualize what it means to inhabit a frequency you haven't yet experienced. You can glimpse, intuit, feel a calling, but the true experience comes only after dissolution, after surrender, after the quantum leap to the new state. The sun sets now, painting the sky with colors reminding us that all transformation has its own rhythm, cadence, internal wisdom. As we finish our journey through quantum change paths, one truth remains on the horizon like a beacon. True transformation isn't a conquest of will, but an act of recognizing and surrendering to the natural process that already knows how to conduct your evolution. Perhaps you began this journey seeking another technique, another method to accelerate changes in your life, and now find yourself before a different invitation. The invitation to slow down, to inhabit the creative void, to trust dissolution as an essential part of the process. This doesn't mean passivity or resignation. It means a deeper form of participation, not as controller, but as conscious witness and collaborator in your own rebirth. When you understand that changing too quickly can be just escape disguised as transformation, you free yourself from the tyranny of hurry. You realize that the true speed of change isn't measured by chronological time, but by the depth of your surrender to the process. A transformation that takes weeks, but happens in all layers of your being, is infinitely faster, in the quantum sense, than years of superficial changes that never touch your deepest vibrational field. By recognizing the invisible error of trying to change the external without collapsing the internal field, you stop wasting energy on actions that merely redecorate the surface of your reality. You direct your attention to the true leverage point, the transmutation of your energy signature. And when this frequency changes, the universe has no choice but to reflect this change back to you, not because you forced it, but because you finally entered resonance with what was always available in the field of all possibilities. Accessing the vibrational void between the old self and the new field may be the bravest step you've ever taken in your transformation journey. It's the moment of suspension, of not knowing, of trusting without guarantees. But it's precisely in this seemingly empty space that true alchemy happens. It's in the silence between two versions of yourself that the field recognizes your new frequency, not through your efforts, but through your conscious presence in the transmutation process itself. The quantum transition technique at 3 levels, body, mind, and identity, offers a practical map to navigate this territory, not as a magic formula, but as an invitation to align all dimensions of your being with the new vibration you wish to establish. When your body, mind, and identity enter coherence, the quantum field responds not as a reward for your effort, but as a faithful mirror of your new vibrational reality. And finally, the metaphor of the caterpillar dissolving to be reborn as butterfly reminds us of the deepest truth of all authentic transformation. It comes not from addition, but release. Not from construction, but revelation. Not from conquest, but surrender to the natural process, already knowing exactly how to conduct your evolution to the next stage of your unfolding. As we close this moment together, I'd like to leave you with a question that might be the most transformative of all. What are you ready to dissolve today so your true self can finally emerge? Don't answer quickly. Allow this question to echo in the deepest layers of your consciousness. Allow it to touch not just your mind but your body, heart, soul. And then, perhaps for the first time, allow yourself to inhabit the creative void that arises when you stop fighting what is, when you stop forcing what isn't ready, when you stop resisting the natural process of your evolution. Because it's in this space and in the silence between who you were and who you're becoming that the true magic of quantum transformation happens, not through effort, technique, or conquest, but through permission, through recognition, through conscious surrender to the wisdom of the process that already knows exactly how to transform caterpillar into butterfly, if only you have the courage to trust the cocoon.